Prices on groceries have gone up 12.4% since October 2021. If you have been to the store in the last year, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Today, I'm going to give you 25 practical tips you could start implementing today to help you save on groceries. Hey there, I'm Brittany Flammer, a financial coach with videos here about budgeting and money saving tips for you and your family. Here's a chart showing you what's historically been spent on groceries or food at home. That gray area is what's historical. That orange bar is what's currently being spent on all food. Obviously, we are spending a lot more. Every month, the USDA puts out some charts on how much typical individuals or families should be spending on food if they're hitting all of the required or recommended food groups. They have a plan for thrifty up all the way through liberal. For a family of 4, the thrifty plan, they should be spending almost $1,000 a month. Our family of 7 spends between $600 and $700 a month on groceries. Here are the tips that I use myself, and they're not in any specific order. Using them all together is what helps me save on groceries. To begin with, I buy meat when it's on sale. I never pay full price. Here is just a sample I looked up at Walmart.com locally to see how much a pound of boneless, skinless chicken breast was. It's $3.42 per pound. And that's just the regular price at Walmart where I live. A couple months ago, I was in the grocery store and I saw chicken for $1.88 a pound. So you better believe I bought it for $1.88 a pound. I bought as much as I could fit into our budget, took it home and froze it for later. Which leads me to tip number 2. You have to know your prices. Now that day that I was shopping and got the chicken for $1.88 a pound, I did not have chicken on my grocery list. But I saw it at the store. I knew that $1.88 a pound was a good price, so I stocked up. But if I didn't know that was a good price, I wouldn't have bought it. So you have to know what good prices are. And if you move to a new place, when we moved here, I had to relearn because prices are different in different places. Now with inflation, I've had to relearn now what's a new price. Good price for things. One way to do this is to carry around a notebook, and when you're at the store, write it down. Or most grocery stores have an online option. You can log in like I just did with Walmart.com to see what the normal price is there. Speaking of prices, you want to compare prices. We like to shop at wholesale stores like Sam's Club or Costco, and they can have really good deals, but not everything there is cheaper. They sell things in larger packages, bigger bags, bigger boxes. So you have to compare. At those stores, a lot of times they have a unit price on the codes, or when you're in the store on their tags, or when you're online, usually they'll tell you how much it is per unit. But sometimes you have to do a little bit of math to figure out how much something is per pound or per ounce or per box, whatever. You might have to do a tiny bit of math. But even within regular grocery stores, we have a big family, so we always would buy cereal in the big bags because that was cheapest. When we moved, I was doing a little bit of research, and at the store where we shop, the big bags are more expensive per ounce than the boxes. So now I buy the boxes because it's cheaper here where we live. So it's just a matter of comparing. And usually if you do it once, then you know what's good. You don't have to do it all the time. Meal planning is kind of a boring topic, but it saves so much money, time, and stress. If you have a plan for your meals, then you can make a list and know what groceries you will actually need, as opposed to going to the store and just getting what looks good. You'll spend less money, and it alleviates so much stress because I know that I've got food planned. I don't have to worry about it every single day when it comes time to make dinner. I know I've already got it planned and I've got the ingredients for it. There's no right or wrong way to meal plan. There are a lot of different ways to do it. I have a video explaining you how I do it, which I find has been the cheapest option for our family. I will put a link in the description box for that as well. I'd be curious to know in the comments down below, let me know how, if you meal plan, how you do it. Do you do it weekly, monthly? Do you do a theme for each different day of the week? I'd be curious to know, so type that in the comments down below. Before meal planning, I like to clean out my fridge, and I'm being serious, this helps save money. Not only does it make me feel better when I look at my fridge, but I go through and I'm able to see what I have on hand to use up before it goes bad. Even though I meal plan and shop with lists, I inevitably have something left over or too much of something. So when I clean out my fridge before I plan out our meals, I pull out and throw away anything that's gross or bad, and I look to see what I've got left. For example, last week we made Parmesan chicken for a large crowd. We used up all the Parmesan chicken, but we still had a lot of noodles left over. So I had a meal full of noodles in our fridge. So I pulled out those noodles, looked to see what else we had in our fridge. We had all the ingredients I needed to make Alfredo sauce. So that night for dinner, we made Alfredo sauce with our pasta noodles and some asparagus that was on sale. So I posted this on my Instagram, I think Instagram stories. It was like $3 or so for a meal for our family of 7 because I was using up what was already on hand in the fridge. After cleaning out the fridge, I like to shop my pantry and my freezer next. So like I said earlier, I like to buy things when they're on sale. So I want to use up what I've already got on hand before I go out and buy more things. Another example of this that I shared on Instagram last week was we had a bunch of carrots and celery left over in the fridge. The celery was starting to get wilty, like it was still okay, but it was on that verge. It was close to going. So I pulled out the celery, the carrots. Then I looked in my pantry. I had half a bag of egg noodles. In my freezer, I had some cream of chicken. I make it in bulk and freeze it, so I have it on hand. And I already had some chicken from when I bought it on sale. So I made creamy chicken noodle soup for our entire family, and I didn't have to pay anything. I already had everything on hand. Coordinating meals can also save a lot of money. This is where I make 2 meals during a week that use up similar ingredients. So for example, I use chicken and celery in the chicken noodle soup, but I could also make chicken pot pie, which will use up those same ingredients. And I can buy a big bag of carrots and divide it up, because when you buy things in bulk, usually it's cheaper, but I will use it all up before it goes bad, so I'm not wasting anything. I also almost always buy generic brands. Guys, they are so much cheaper. Here is just a random thing I looked up, chocolate pudding. At Walmart, it's $1.24 for the name brand. That exact same size in the generic brand is 88 cents. Now, I know we're just talking a few cents. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but that's 30% more expensive for the name brand. Think if you could slash your entire grocery budget by 30%, that would make a big difference because it does add up. And I know there are some things where name brand just tastes better. For example, Oreos. I won't buy the generic Oreos. I only buy name brand because they taste so much better. In the comments down below, let me know what you prefer name brand to. But most items are made in the same factory. They just have different labels. So majority of the stuff is the same and it's so much cheaper. Grocery pickup or curbside pickup can save you so much money. Not only does it force you to have a plan and make a list and know what you want to buy, but also it curbs those impulse purchases when you're in store. I saw a study recently that said the average American spends $327 a month on impulse purchases. That's a lot of money. So when you order and do a pickup, you're not going into the store, you're not buying those impulse buys. Also, it helps if you have kids that always want things and ask for things. You don't even have to tell them no because you're not in the store shopping. Grocery delivery is another thing to consider. It is more expensive than buying groceries yourself, but if it is easier for you for your work schedule and if it keeps you from going into the store, it might save you money in the long run, depending on your situation. Now let's talk about leftovers. You need to eat them. I like having leftovers the next day for my lunch, but I'm at home and it's easy to warm them up. For my kids that go to school, if you have those insulated thermoses, you can warm up a meal in the microwave, stick it in their thermos, and it will still be warm at lunchtime. Or we also like to do a leftover night. This happens not every week, but it's almost always on Saturdays because I don't want to cook by the time Saturday rolls around. So we just pull over everything that's left, pull out everything in our fridge that's left over, set it on the counter, and everyone gets to choose what they want. So we don't do anything formal. I don't have to plan a meal. I don't have to cook or prepare a meal, so there are almost no dishes. And we use up food we already have, so it didn't cost us anything. Shopping in season is also another money saver. Everything has seasons, but especially produce. For example, it has been a long winter here where we live, and we are sick of bananas and apples and oranges. We want more fruit. So just a few days ago, I was in the grocery store and we saw our first watermelon for the season, but it was like $9. And my 4-year-old wanted the watermelon so badly. But I said, no way. First of all, it's $9, which is insane. If we wait just a month, it will be in season. It'll probably be $5 or $6 and it will taste so much better. So buying in season saves. It's cheaper and tastes better. When I am shopping in the store, I like to keep a running total in my head as we're going. And I round up. So if I add some chips or something that's $1.50, to make it easy, I'll just say $2. That accounts for tax, errs on the side of caution, and it's much easier math to do in my head. It's not perfect, it's not exact, but I keep that running total. And as I'm going and I see something that we don't need but want, and I'm already close to my my limit, I won't add it because I am keeping a total, because stuff adds up so much faster than you think it will. Be careful about paying for convenience. Prepackaged, prepared, pre-cut, pre-sliced, any of that stuff you are paying extra for the convenience. Take the fruit platters, for example. $10 fruit platter, if you buy $10 worth of fruit, you'll get triple the amount of fruit as long as you prepare it on your own, peel it and cut it yourself. Now, I know there are times when the convenience might be worth it, but for everyday life, beware. If you do it yourself, you will spend a lot less money. Don't be afraid to shop at discount grocery stores. We love Aldi and Winco. They save us a lot of money. Sometimes you have to take your own bags or you have to bag everything yourself, but it can save a lot of money. Be careful when you are buying in bulk. Now, you can save a lot of money when you buy things in bulk. We like to shop at wholesale stores like Sam's and Costco, and we can save a lot of money. But if you buy that huge bag of veggie straws and then eat all of it, it's not saving you any money because you're just eating more than you would otherwise. So when we buy stuff in bulk, I like to divide it up and portion it out when we buy it. So if we get a big thing of trail mix, I'll divide it into little bags. And so they're portioned out. So we just eat one portion at a time rather than eating the whole bag in one sitting. Speaking of plastic bags, I do reuse my plastic Ziploc type bags. Maybe that's weird to some people, but if I've just got something like trail mix that's a dry ingredient that just has crumbs, I'll just dump those crumbs out and reuse them without an issue. When it comes to lunches, we use reusable containers that we can just wash. So we don't use a lot of those disposable bags. But when I do use them, I try to reuse them if possible. This might not necessarily seem related, but it really has saved us a lot of money. We have a thumbprint lock for our food storage room, which is essentially our pantry. So our kids cannot get into it when they want. So when I buy big bulk purchases of snacks or treats or things like that, we leave out a little bit in our cupboard so our kids can have access to that, but most of it we put down in our thumbprint thing so our kids can't access it so that it will last a lot longer. Also, look at buying things on rebate or with digital coupons. I know it can be annoying, but most millionaires use coupons, guys. Like I've mentioned, we shop a lot at Sam's Club. We get a lot of our staples there, like shampoo, deodorant, razor blades, things like that, and they go on rebate regularly. It's not every month, it's usually every few months. And I never know exactly when it's going to happen, but I know the staples that we use that go on rebate. So I buy them when they're on rebate, and I know we've got enough to last us until the next time they're on rebate. So I'm never paying full price for them. Another thing to talk about is cash back apps. Now, I have this kind of towards the bottom of our list because it's not going to save you the most money. I feel like using all those other tips I've mentioned will save you more money than cashback apps, but they can save you money. The two favorites I like are Ibotta and Fetch. I have tutorials on how I use them. I'll link those in the description box below. Usually it's a few dollars a month I get. I don't like to spend very much time. I just spend a couple minutes throughout the month. I usually earn a few dollars. That being said, I was just at the grocery store like 2 weeks ago. I spent $100 and I got $11 back on Ibotta. That's 11%, which is pretty good for stuff I was going to buy anyway. I've mentioned that I like to buy things on sale, but another way to do it is to buy things gradually. Say you need a box of noodles for a dinner. Rather than just buying one, I like to get 2 or 3 so that you're starting a stockpile. So the next time you need noodles, you don't have to go buy them. You've already got some on hand. Now, as I do that, I stay within my regular monthly grocery budget. So I don't buy a ton all at once, but I can add 1 or 2 in without going over budget usually. Another simple tip that often gets overlooked is to share, whether it's deals you find out about or see at the store or actual produce that you have. My mother-in-law has a ton of raspberry plants, far more than what she needs for just herself. So she invites us over there to pick them. So we go over there and pick them. We come home with enough raspberries to make a bunch of jam and to freeze raspberries. So we have them in the off season without having to pay a huge price. Now, I know that's not always an option for everyone, but it can be something as simple as last year, I mentioned a neighbor at church. She's like a really great gardener. And so I was asking her a question and it came out that we were starting a raspberry patch and a berry patch. A couple weeks later, she texted me and said, hey, one of my friends has some raspberry starts they don't want. Would you like them? So I got 20 raspberry starts for free. That would have been at least $200 at the store. So just sharing information and deals and things like that with people can lead you to saving a lot of money. Speaking of raspberry patches, growing your own food can save a lot of money. Seeds don't cost very much. For just a few dollars in seeds, you can grow a lot of produce. Now, I know gardening can be expensive depending on where you live. Getting started, if you have to bring in dirt and do a garden bed, it can be expensive. But in the long run, it can save you a lot of money. For example, we lived in Arkansas and we wanted to plant pumpkins. We took our store-bought pumpkin and we kept the seeds and saved them. And the next year we planted them. And I know everything I read said they're not supposed to grow. We planted those seeds we got in our store-bought pumpkin and we planted them and we had enough pumpkins. Each of our kid had a pumpkin that Halloween. We didn't have to go buy. We saved like $30 on pumpkins. This next tip is one that you probably already know, but try to avoid shopping when you're hungry or when you're in a hurry. When you're hungry, you always add a lot more than what you really need. And when you're in a hurry, you don't focus on things, you grab more than what you need. You just grab stuff for convenience. So you end up spending a lot more. This next tip is one that I try really hard to live by, but it is hard. I like to shop one day a week. That means I have to have my meal plan and I get all my groceries once. So then I don't have to go into another store, because even if I just run in for 1 or 2 items, I come out with 10 or 12 items, spending a lot more money. I do not always do this, but I try. And when I do it, it saves us a lot of money. If you want to see how I meal plan, check out that video right up there. I walk you through my meal planning process. Otherwise, make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you get notified of all my new videos. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.